I remember my mom would get on to me because after we would all go to sleep, I would sneak back downstairs and I would just like curl up in my dad's chair similar to this one. And I would watch those infomercials on like Feed the Children and stuff. And I would just sit there and cry my eyes out all night. I was probably like 5. And I just couldn't understand why those kids didn't have what they needed. My mom would come downstairs and I would get in trouble because I'd be up at like 2 o'clock in the morning watching infomercials. But I'd go into our kitchen and I'd get like a crate together and I'd like start putting leftovers and like cans of stuff in there. And I was so mad at my mom because she wouldn't take me to Africa. I was so mad at her. And I didn't obviously understand how far Africa was at the time. My name is Katie Knight. I am currently the Financial Center Manager in Hugo. I was an RBE before that, relationship banker, and I've been with the bank almost 5 years. Gary was my first Spend Life Wisely customer. He came in and he looked a little lost and he said, y'all had a commercial or something? And I was like, what? You know, at first I didn't know what he was talking about, and he's like, yeah, something about I needed some help in the commercial. And I was like, oh, you saw the commercial? And I was so excited. So I was like, oh, it's first one, like, yeah, what do we do? Oh my gosh, it's time, this is go time. You know, because we had done, you know, training and we knew that maybe someone would come in, but I don't know, I was super pumped that someone did, you know. So I take Gary to the office, you know, and I said, well, okay, great. What's the problem? What can I do? You know, and I was so excited to fix it. And he was kind of all over the place and he was stumbling over his words and telling me a bunch of like, well, this person called me and told me this and I owe this person this much. And I'm like, okay, hold on, we got to start from square one. And so we spent about 3 or 4 hours that first day in the office. As I got to looking at his account, he let me, you know, look at his budget, and we kind of wrote down everything he had. I found out that he made $900 less than what his bills were. Like his bills were about $900 more than what he had a month. He was telling me about how the stress and the bill collectors just calling him all day, and it like he was in the hospital from the stress, was making his blood pressure go up, and he was just beside himself, like he just needed help badly and didn't know where to go. I remember in the training, Jennifer told us, like, now if you guys get someone who comes in and it's just like a mess, then you may need to like set them up with a meeting with me. And so kind of in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is my first one and it might be a Jennifer call on this one. We started looking at everything and we separated a list of like what a want is, you know, what a need is, that kind of thing. And we went through that, and he had 2 cell phone bills for some reason. We got those shut off. We got him a cheaper plan, and then we had to turn his DirecTV off, and I felt really bad about it. He was totally for it, but he was a little sad because he's at home all day and he's, you know, doesn't really have a lot to do. And he was telling me that he really liked watching Westerns. So I had him tell me a couple of his favorites, and I bought him a couple DVDs and mailed it to him for his birthday. And he was so thankful that he could watch something again, you know. But we shaved all that off, and then he was still like $600, you know, in bills more than what he had in a month deficit or whatever. So we got his truck refinanced. I worked with Bob Butlin before he retired to get that taken care of, and then we were still sitting with like a $400, you know, that we needed to find somewhere, fix somehow. Over those couple months, I got in touch with the HUD organization. And it took a couple months to get everything like figured out. And it was actually my last day here before I went to Hugo where I finally got the email from him and Gary was here that they approved it and that it was fixed. So what they did is they went in and they were able to condense his payments down into 1 or 2 payments. But they lowered all of his credit card interest rates to like 0 and made some of his payments not due for like 2 years even. Like they really, really, really helped. And so with that, he finally had like $300 left a month. And we were like, oh my God, we did it. Like, I don't know how we did it, but we did it. And he was so excited, and he just gets me in the feels a little bit. But like we opened him a savings account and we set it up to where it would move a small amount over every month, and I created him a budget that all the RBs have access to when he comes in, he knows kind of where he's at, and they've all kind of adopted him and helped him, since I've been gone. But that's when he asked me to do the video, because he was just so thankful for what we did.
If you hear me, I won't tell you what I think of the commercial you put on TV. It's not the best I've ever seen. And it caused me to come down here exactly when I saw the commercial, because my budget was a mess. And this is Gary K. Corley, by the way. It was a total mess. Didn't think there's any way to go about it at all. And the people here have helped me out, got it straightened back out, and I actually got money left over the first month.
Woohoo! We did it, huh?
Yeah.
I wish I got all of it on video, because he talked for a while kind of after I stopped it. But he said that he was always afraid of banks, and that he felt stupid, and then he felt like he didn't know what to ask, so how could anyone help him, kind of thing. And then he felt like kind of intimidated when he came in, and he actually went to a different branch, and they kind of were like, no, you have to go to Maine for that, which I'm glad he did come to Maine. But so he'd already been turned away once. Like, it seems small, like a budget to somebody, but to someone like Gary, who felt like there was no way out, and for like the rest of his life he was going to be 30 phone calls a day from debt collectors, and like the stress was probably going to kill him, is what he kept telling me. But the relief on his face, where he's like, oh my gosh, I got money left. What? Like, I can put gas in my car. Like that, he was just so grateful for what we did. He was trying not to cry the whole time, so I was trying not to cry the whole time in all of my life. And I don't know if everyone feels this way, but like, I guess it's like the feeling you get when you give someone a present on Christmas, like the joy of seeing them opening it and like being excited. It's like that times 10, You carry that for a long time. Like, I think about Gary all the time. I check up on his account all the time. Like, I use that story with my team now, and I explain to them like what it meant for Gary and what it means for me, and how like a simple, very simple interaction, how it began in some way changed the way he lives his life now, and it kind of changed things for me too, because you get busy in your day-to-day paperwork and scanning things and the boring part of our jobs, but then like when something like Gary happens, or someone like Gary happens, and you're able to help them in this grand way for them, like it just reminds you why you love doing what you do, and that like what you do does matter, even though you just work at a bank. Like, you can do a lot of good just working at a bank.